Brittney Griner is, in fact, a man. One of the videos that give us cause to say that is this video. It is from her Instagram stories from years and years ago. And when it comes to Instagram, they use a combination of like AI detection and plus manual surveyors to make sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform. So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Brittney posted this and it stayed up for 106 weeks was not like, oh, this is a female chest, we have to take this down. Oftentimes, if breast cancer runs in a family, women will preemptively get like double mastectomies. And there are some great surgeons out there, don't get me wrong, but I don't see any scars on Brittney's chest that would be indicative of a double mastectomy or top surgery for gender transition.
Today, we're diving into a story that has sparked major conversation across the WNBA community. Reports and online claims have been circulating about Sophie Cunningham and alleged DNA evidence connected to Brittney Griner, triggering a wave of reactions from fans and basketball followers alike. But what is the real story behind these claims? What information is actually available, and why has this topic drawn so much attention? Stay with us as we break down the details and explore everything you need to know about this developing controversy. Let's get right into it. A teenage girl's pro-Sophie Cunningham sign caused the Seattle Storm owner to yell at her. The fan was left crying after being told to put it away. That's the post that has been making the rounds on basketball Twitter for the past 2 days. And it's not just some exaggerated online rumor either. The truth about what actually happened courtside in Seattle is worse than the headline suggests. And compared to a single game score, it says a whole lot more about this league right now. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 90% of viewers still haven't subscribed. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video.
Like that, and then she told us that we were effing insane.
And she's like, and she went like
yes.
insane.
Yeah.
She's like, you better stop this
and stop pulling
shit.
this. Yeah.
And
For you guys
I
to
hope
come
God
here
can
and
save
pull
you.
this. Yeah.
She said, for you to come here and pull this shit.
Yeah.
She said the word.
Yeah.
Did she say effing insane or?
No, she said the word.
And nobody around you spoke up for you.
No.
So,
No.
I will say, Annalie, when I came over, you were in tears.
Yeah, I've never been yelled at like that. I mean, I've had people hate on me on the internet, but like it doesn't really affect me because it's just people online. But that just took me by surprise because I thought she was gonna be nice, and then she started like screaming at us. Want to come in?
WNBA game, a teenage girl held up a sign. No one was attacked by it. Not a single player was mentioned by name. It simply thanked Sophie Cunningham for speaking up for female athletes. A Seattle Storm co-owner approached her during the game and told her to put it away, according to the fans sitting there, in front of a completely sold-out crowd. By the time it was over, security had been called, and the girl was crying. Take a moment to think about that. At a basketball game, a grown adult who actually owns part of a professional sports team confronted a child because she loved the sign.
Same vein in that story with ESPN, you talked about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children. And that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Yeah, do you see your advocacy on that, like taking any form going forward?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports were protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really important to protect.
Do you think, I guess, along the line like that, it goes against perhaps, some people might say, hey, for the trans community, this could be something that could come back on us or be targeted against us. Like, how do you, I guess, view that sort of critique?
You know, like I said, I extend love, and I don't dislike anyone. Like, I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to...
A few weeks ago, Sophie Cunningham was asked directly about protecting women's sports during an ESPN program. She didn't try to water it down into something safer or dodge the question. She said plainly that she wants, regardless of the response, to keep young girls safe in locker rooms. that they should not have to compete against biological guys, and that she will always believe that no matter the response.
How the left is completely intolerant and the actual hateful ones. This woman is not an owner of a basketball team. She's an owner of a left-wing, radical, political activist group that happens to play basketball. Because this team has endorsed Kamala Harris for president. They have promoted trans rights on their website and their merchandise. And clearly they hold a double standard and allow people to hold signs like this, but belittle young girls that support their sports remaining female. I don't expect them to do this, but I would really like to see the WNBA protect and stand up for fans just like these two young girls from hate and intolerance.
Response did not include any name-calling. No one in particular, whether a rival or a teammate, was attacked. It was simply a direct answer to a direct question, delivered calmly, as you might expect from someone who had thought carefully about it rather than speaking off the cuff. But context in this league rarely stays neutral for long, so whether Sophie said it out loud or not, the response had a name attached to it.
I think it has been so fun. I played with BG for 6 years, and so I know her like the back of my hand. And as of late, she's been playing really good. She's been playing like OG Brittney. I'm there to love, but I'm also there to love biological women. And I think that there are rights that need to be protected. And like I said, I'm going to stand true to that. I'll never falter in my beliefs in that, but I have never once said I hated the trans community. Like I said, I think there's space for everyone.
If you've watched any of the Fever's games against the Connecticut Sun this season, you already know who many fans connected those remarks to. For the past 3 seasons, Brittney Griner and Caitlin Clark have had a tense on-court relationship. Body checks that went uncalled, a bench moment from the previous season that fans are still debating frame by frame, and an officiating style that consistently drifted from the norm every time those two shared the floor. So when Cunningham, Clark's closest teammate and the team's most outspoken defender, stood up and said, "Men shouldn't be playing in women's sports," the fan base didn't need a translator to connect the dots. Most of her message was delivered by the timing alone.
Some fans at the game booed Cunningham when she checked into the game. One Seattle Storm player even showed up pre-game wearing a shirt that read, "Trans rights are human rights." After the game, Storm coach Sonia Rahman was asked about the situation.
Seattle and this organization and Climate Pledge, we always want to be an area where people feel welcome coming into this building. I think we've always done a really good job with that. So I know our organization was, working closely with Climate Pledge and with security to just make sure that, everybody feels safe and included and welcome when they walk in this door. And from what I understand, that was...
The idea that Cunningham's remarks were aimed exclusively at her has never been addressed by Griner. Still, in a separate interview a few days before this whole thing erupted, she did say that playing against Cunningham is incredibly frustrating, even though she would never choose a different teammate standing beside her. Make of that what you will. But the reaction to Cunningham's remarks online was not minimal, and it did not stay quiet for very long.
You have Sophie Cunningham, a female athlete herself, very accomplished in her own right, coming forth and speaking that truth that men shouldn't play in women's sports. We want to protect women and girls, and the backlash she is receiving from Democrats and left-wing figures across the country is...
Within roughly 48 hours, it was everywhere. The article was picked up by USA Today. By the following morning, ESPN had included segments about it across several shows. Fox News gave it its own national segment. Whether the league likes hearing it or not, the White House press secretary officially said that Cunningham was on the right side of an issue the majority of Americans already agree on. That is a major response to a WNBA role player's candid answer to a single question in a feature interview. That is a dialogue that reaches far beyond the world of basketball. And Sophie never asked for any of it to unfold the way it did.
Applaud her enough. This notion that you're hating on the trans community because you are not a proponent of them participating in female sports is utterly ridiculous. Sophie Cunningham said every word right on the money. There's no hate involved. There's only love we're talking about. But what happened to loving girls who are born biologically as girls? What about their rights? What about fairness associated to them? Leah Thomas, I'm going to keep bringing that name up. 400 plus in the world competing as a male. Transitions to female, and he was number 1. If we're going to act like transitioning from male to female doesn't involve an advantage for that trans athlete, I have nothing to say to you. You're not exercising.
People should really focus more on what she did next, because that's what separates her from practically every other athlete who has ever been in this position. Days later, reporters came back to her, clearly hoping she would soften it into something less risky and specific, clarify it, or walk it back. She did none of that. She said it almost word for word, adding that she doesn't hate anyone, and that she truly believes there is room for everyone. But she will not change what she honestly believes, just because a group of people asked her to. That is not how someone acts when chasing controversy for attention. That is a person who was asked a fair question, answered honestly, and when the pressure finally came, refused to act like she didn't mean it.
Comes out last week and talks about her beliefs, which I do think is very rare, especially being as young as she is, and quite honestly being brave to share something she knows is going to get picked apart a million times, and then standing by it. That's refreshing, especially from a young woman.
And that brings us to Seattle, where the entire situation shifted from an online dispute into something that happened to a real child at a real game, in front of real people who watched it unfold in real time. On paper, the Fever's game against the Storm on Tuesday night should have been only about basketball. A modest crowd gathered outside Climate Pledge Arena before tip-off. Some came specifically to support Cunningham, while others were there to support a Washington ballot question that has been gaining momentum across the state regarding fairness in girls' athletics. Some wore clothing featuring the X and XY symbols, while others carried signs. It was not aimed at any specific Storm player. It was about more than one WNBA player's comments. It was about Cunningham, the larger discussion she had stepped into weeks earlier, and a policy debate that has been building for quite some time.
Covering your sign.
Two of those supporters entered the arena and sat courtside with a banner thanking Cunningham for standing up for girls. Brandy Cruz of Undivided Pod, who spoke with them directly afterward, said that a woman approached them during the game and called them completely insane. Then security removed them from their seats. The woman was later identified by the crowd as Celeste Caton, the Storm's minority owner. One of them said the speed at which a night at a basketball game turned into a hostile and deeply personal exchange left her in tears before the confrontation had even ended.
Signs that said, like, we love Sophie, like, thank you, Sophie, for speaking up. And so we were holding on, just watching the game. Again, we were being super great. We hadn't said anything to anyone else. We were being super respectful. We were just holding our signs and cheering for both teams. And this lady, older lady, comes up to us. And she comes up to us, and at first I think she's going to be nice. And she asks, like, what are you guys doing? Something like that. And then it was like, Jesus loves everyone. That's what she told us. And I was like, oh, I know. Like, I'm religious. Like, I know. Like, I know. Nice. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I hope Jesus can forgive you for what sin you've done. And like, something like that. And then she told us that we were effing insane. And
she's like, and she went like,
insane.
Yeah. She's like, you better stop this.
And stop pulling this. Yeah.